what I really want to do at this very beginning meeting is to let people know that we would really like to hear what your needs are in your own home, in your own life, traveling, whatever. What kind of tips and tricks that you would be interested in hearing, and learning about. And you know, to grow our lives and learn to be more independent. So that would give us more ideas of finding people, and I also want to say that we will give the time for speakers first to talk about what they're here to talk about and share with all of us. And then after that, there'll be an open time for people to ask questions and get more information about their own Victor readers in this case. But we do want to give them the quiet space to be able to say what they want to say and share with us. And the third thing is that if any of you have a special thing in your own lives that you would be interested in sharing, for instance, our friend Holly here is really good for with cooking. So she's gonna have it in June that will teach us some things to cook with, all kinds of things in that area. And then next month, I'm gonna talk about labeling and it's a time in those times too for you to share after the speakers of how you do things. So, you know, it might be well, that's a really cool thing to measure the flour, and this is how I do it. So in other words, we're all here to teach each other, but we want to give the main speakers here that special time. So I'm going to turn it over to Patrice.
Hi, everybody. I am just going to do one quick thing
Live mode.
and that is, unless Betty, you would like to call Crystal Morris because she's not being able to get in.
Okay.
Oh, do you want me to do it? I got my
Yeah, I don't know what to.
No problem, sister.
Okay, so John, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Maybe you could talk and start a little bit about the new Victor Reader.
Oh, are you talking to me, Bevy?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, good morning, everybody, and
You're on the air. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
It's a real pleasure to be here. I'm John.
We're going. Listen. Sorry,
Okay.
John. Go again.
No, that's okay. I'm John Glass. I am a client of Vista Center and also I'm on the board of directors.
Hold on, John.
I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
Crystal, we're having a class right now. So can you hear John?
No.
Okay, what?
Right now, calling you so you can have a nice people on my iPhone. I it says
Okay, Crystal.
Yeah.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna not worry about that right now, and I'm gonna put my iPhone right next to the computer so you can hear John and hear all of us, okay?
So, and then remember not to speak anymore until it's time to open it up for everybody to share.
Oh, you mean I have to do on my name again?
Yes.
On my cell phone?
If you want to call back on your cell phone, that'll be fine. We can hang up, call me on your cell phone, and then we're gonna put you right next to the computer so you can hear everybody, okay?
Okay. I call you back on my cell phone because this one he has another.
Okay. You got it, sister. I'll be the same. Okay. Sorry. Well, you know what? This is one of the things we're gonna figure out about doing this.
Yeah.
Look how many people want to be involved.
Yeah.
And we have to get this, if we're just. Crystal Morris.
Here he comes.
Okay, you're recording, good for you. I'm going to give the phone to Roberto here, and he's gonna put it right next to the computer. And then, Crystal, I'm gonna have John talk, and I'm gonna ask you if you can hear John, okay?
Okay,
Okay, here you go. We're moving you right now.
okay.
You're
Okay,
flying.
There's a.
okay, and I'll just talk here for a second. Are you able to hear me okay, Crystal?
Hi, John. Yeah, is it John?
Yes, it is.
See if I can make it louder. Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
Good. Now
Okay,
you have to
okay.
be quiet, Crystal, because John's gonna talk.
That's
And then I'll,
what you do.
yeah, and I know, and I'll let you know when you can talk. You'll hear my lovely soprano voice, okay? All right, here we go. John, take it away.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody, and hopefully you're hearing me okay. My name is John Glass, and I am over here in Saratoga, so I'm on the other side of the hill from you folks in Santa Cruz. I am a client of Vista Center, and I'm also a member of Vista Center's board of directors. And I have been blind all my life, and I have to tell you that the Victor Reader Stream is a product that I have really enjoyed for, well, gosh, the first model came out, and I believe it was 2006, and I got one of those, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And we're up to the third generation of it now, which people call the Victor Stream 3. For those of you who don't know what the Victor Stream is, it is a handheld device that can play talking books. You can listen to newspapers through NFB Newsline. The talking books that it plays can be downloaded by the Victor Stream directly from NLS BARD, the National Library Service. It can also download books directly from bookshare.org. The Victor Stream also allows you to subscribe and play podcasts. You also have the ability to listen to internet radio stations. There are two internet radio services that it uses. One of them is called OO Tunes, and the newest one that they have just recently added is called iTunes. And many of you may be familiar with that service because several of us have been using that one on our computers for quite some time. This device also has a voice recorder in it so that you can record notes to yourself, or if you want to record a class or a presentation, you can do that. And it's a handheld device. As I said, it has a tactile keypad on it, so there's no screen of any kind actually there, so you don't have to worry about a touch screen or anything like that. It has a rechargeable battery, and it is a little bit smaller than an iPhone. It is easy to carry, and it is really a very powerful device for all of the features that it has and all of the capabilities that are available. One of the things that I really like about it is that when you turn the machine on and it connects to your Wi-Fi, it automatically goes out and checks to see if there are any new episodes for podcasts that you're subscribed to. It also checks to see if there are any new issues of the NFB Newsline newspapers that you're subscribed to. So for example, if you subscribe, let's say, to the San Jose Mercury News or the San Francisco Chronicle, when I turn my machine on each morning before I get ready to go out and do things, it automatically gets today's issues of the newspapers that I'm subscribed to, and it gets my current podcasts that I'm subscribed to, and it does all of this silently in the background, even while I'm doing other things with it. So I could be listening to a talking book, and it will be getting the latest editions of the newspapers and the podcasts in the background at the same time that it's playing a book to me, or another newspaper, or whatever I might be listening to. So the thing that I really do like, in addition to all of this, is that when you are playing a podcast or listening to a newspaper or a talking book and you stop, when you go back to that particular publication or book and you start playing, it resumes from exactly where you left off. So it sets an automatic bookmark each time that you stop listening to something, and it will resume from where you left off. I want to also say that it has an audio music player in it, so you can load it up with all of your favorite music and take that along with you as well. You can plug standard headphones or earbuds into it. It also has Bluetooth capabilities, so you can pair it with a Bluetooth headset or external speaker. It has its own internal speaker, so you don't have to listen with headphones when you're just out and about. And the rechargeable battery, I typically 12 hours of use on a battery charge. You charge it with USB-C, and of course they provide you with the charger and cable. And I guess that's sort of a high-level overview. Patrice, back to you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
John.
John. John, and those of you who are on Zoom or phone, I just passed around what the new Victor Stream 3 feels like, because it is different from what we're used to with the Stream 2. It's a little smaller, as John said. The buttons are much more raised and they're rubber, and they have much more identifiable structure. So if you touch, it's really easy to figure out if you're on 4 or 6 or 2 or 8. It's very well designed in that way. The other thing about it is that, as John said, the way to recharge it is so much more stable. It's just what did you say, John?
It's called
You-
USB-C, and
Thank
the thing that's nice. There are two things that are nice about USB-C. As Patrice said, it's more robust and durable. When you plug the cable into the machine, it's not likely that anything is ever going to break as a result of someone plugging the connector in a little too hard or that sort of thing. The other thing that's nice is you can plug the connector in either way. In other words, that no longer do you have a right side up and upside down. You can plug the connector in either direction, and it works identically.
Thank you, John. The other thing, I just turned on my Victor reader. It's the buttons are basically the same, they're just raised. I'm going to turn my Victor reader up so you can all hear it, and I think that's the other thing that's new. I'm not trying to sell a Stream 3, by the way. I have no commission here. One of the things that Chris just said, I'm about to turn this up, but that if you have vision, or low vision, that the numbers on the keypad are much bigger and much more easily read. So that's also really handy dandy. Now I'm gonna turn up my volume.
Volume 16,
Okay,
volume 19.
all right, and I'll just see where I am. I'm just hitting button. Okay, clearly I read things fast. Okay, so
Yeah,
what I'm going to do, I promise, is let you hear how loud it is, and
Endless art, 28, books, 13. Podcast, 5, podcast feeds, 1, 9 to 5 Mac Daily, 9 to 5 Mac, 1, new episode.
Can you guys hear it on Zoom? Okay.
yeah.
Reasonably well. It would be nice for you to get a little bit closer to the computer's microphone with it if you can.
Yeah, it's really weird. What we need to do is we have an Apple TV here. We need.
Okay.
You're right, John. It's hard to hear for you guys. So you're gonna have to trust me. The sound is much better. And the the elephant in the room is that the Stream 3 has Bluetooth. And so you can use wireless earphones And I know myself, I don't know, I have to have my Victor Reader playing when I'm folding laundry, that they cannot, that it can't happen unless I'm doing that. And if you have those cords, you know, in the old fashioned way, I'm always knocking, while I'm folding, I'm knocking them out of my ears, they're making me crazy. So, for my sanity, the Stream 3 with Bluetooth earphones is a much better option. And John said the other thing about it is that the battery level, they say, is 15 hours. And I believe it. It just goes and goes,
Yeah.
and goes and goes.
The
That's-
battery life really is quite good. And
Yeah.
I wanted to say just two more quick things, if I could,
Yes.
while I'm thinking of them, so that we don't forget. Patrice was talking about the fact that she reads rapidly, and I tend to do that too. You can speed it up and slow it down when you're listening to books and podcasts and newspapers. And the other thing is, there are different voices that you can choose from, different reading voices for material that is not read by a live narrator. So the 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 selectable voices don't apply to NLS Bard books because those are read by a human. But if you're listening to books from Bookshare or NFB Newsline content or other text documents, there are different voices that you can choose from. And I think one of the most important things is that whether you're listening to a human narrator or one of the internal voices, the thing that is really nice is that when you speed it up, it does not change the pitch. It simply speeds up uh, the the text itself. But as many of you may remember, who when we used cassette tapes, if you speeded something up, it made it sound like a chipmunk. It changed the pitch, and the stream does not do that. It keeps the voice at its normal pitch. It just makes it speak more rapidly.
That's really great. We're gonna switch also to the two in a little bit, but one thing I did do is I called Humanware and asked them some questions based on some questions some of you had asked me. And one of the questions is, can I read Audible books on my Stream 3? Now their official line is no. And they said they think they'll have Audible access by June, that it's all Audible's fault, basically. But I have listened to Audible books with my Stream 2, and I basically back them up to my computer and then move them from my computer to my Victor Reader. So it was kind of a two-step process. Often it wouldn't read the chapters easily. It would jump to the end of the book. It wasn't very stable. That was my experience of it, but I was desperate and I didn't want to use my phone. Okay, I got over it. I'm using my phone. However, the other thing that they said is there is something called Audible Sync, SYNC. And if you're interested in listening to Audible books, what can happen is if you have a book in your Audible library, you can transfer it to your Victor Reader. But it will say now transfer in your library. So that book is in your Victor Reader. I don't think there's an option to put it back into your library of your Audible. But that was one thing that they told me. The other thing that I noticed is, and again, I'm not selling these puppies. If my Victor 2, was still in working order, I'd be using it. However, there is a way to buy them for $45 a month, and there is no extra charge for doing a payment plan. And the going price right now is $550. And that is coming from Humanware. One last thing that John can talk about, is, the other option both he and I use. We have Corey at North State, who is, renting space, in our Vista Center. We try to give him business whenever we can. He currently does not have any Stream 3s at the store in San Jose. He said he had a couple in Sacramento. When both John and I, bought these, we bought them like within days of each other. We used a different vendor because Corey didn't have them at all. They had just come out. So John, can you tell us about the other vendor?
Yes, I can. So the vendor that Patrice and I bought our streams through is called Sweetman Systems. They're in Southern California. They it's a family-run business owned by Bob and Sue Sweetman. Bob is totally blind and is a very active access technology user and trainer, so he uses all the products that they sell. They currently are selling the Victor Stream 3 for $525, and I just verified this, which admittedly is not a large discount, but it's a $25 discount from the list price. And the other thing that they do is they provide the stream with an 8 gigabyte SD card that has instructional materials on it that Bob has. He's got a nice getting started tutorial and a couple of other tutorials that go through the use of the different features that the Victor Stream has. And so it's really nice. As a matter of fact, when you get one from them and you take it out of the box, all you have to do is turn the machine on, press the play button, and it starts to play the getting started audio tutorial that he recorded. So that's kind of nice.
Thank you, John. That's terrific. Maybe before we go to the two, not to rush anything, let's ask for questions, but before people start asking, let's do the people who are on Zoom first. So any of you who are on Zoom or Crystal, do you have a question at this time about Stream 3?
Yeah, I think it has a GPS unit in it too, right?
No, that is called it was called the Trekker Breeze. No, John, it was called the Trekker Stream. Is that what it was, John?
Yeah, they called it the Victor Reader Trek, and basically this is a product that is no longer being manufactured and sold, but it was a Victor Stream 2 with added capability with a GPS receiver to provide you with directions for navigating. So if you were walking or riding in a car, this product, in addition to doing all the things that we've just talked about, would allow you to set routes and get directions and that sort of thing. They have replaced that product with a standalone navigation product called the Stellar Trek. We won't go into any detail on it today, but it is now available. However, it is fairly expensive. It's $1,600, and quite honestly, I would suggest to people that if you are a smartphone user, if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you already have the power in your hands to have really, really good navigation with different apps, and that may be a program session that we can do in the future. It's beyond what we're going to do today. But just know that if you have a smartphone, you have the ability to have some really good navigation.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, John.
And any other
Sure.
questions from anybody on Zoom? Okay, if after, this afternoon, I'm gonna be home after 2 o'clock. if anybody wants to call me and I can play the Victor right there, you know, right at the, so you can hear it. I'm happy to show you how it sounds and explain how we move through it and how it works. And maybe we'll have time at the end of this, but, if there are no more questions, anybody around the table have any questions about Stream 3?
This is, oh, sorry, this is Holly. You have two questions actually.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about using the Victor as opposed to doing the same things on your iPhone? You have some good thoughts about that, I'm sure.
I have my own thoughts, I'm sure that people do. I'll give you my 2 cents. I can listen to books on the iPhone and do, especially Audible. But I would say I love Victor because it's so easy to turn it on, turn it off, move forward, move backward. I don't have to swipe. I have buttons I can punch. And I find that much quicker. And it's more stable when I turn it back on. If I'm reading a book, it's in the place, as John said, it's in the place where I left off. And it just seems like it's more foolproof, if you will.
Yeah.
Somebody else
The-
have some comments on that?
The other thing that I like about using the Victor Stream is that I'm not running my phone battery down.
Good point, John. Roberto, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I was just gonna say it's easy to record, you know, pop it out, record.
Absolutely, and the recording, maybe we can demonstrate that after we're all through, if people wanna hear it, but the recording is so much clearer than it was on the 2.
Oh,
The Stream 3 is much clearer. You know, they've really juiced up the speaker exactly, and the quality of the speaker, and you can change tone, etc.
And when you're recording with an iPhone, it will drain the battery.
a little louder.
More big, much more significant, much more faster.
Good point. And
Yeah.
and another question, actually, it's on my 2, the charging port became defective, and so it's a pain to get it load just correctly, to get it charging. And so I've not been using it like I used to. I do use it for recording. I've got 1,004 notes on there. I just saw that yesterday. It's coming very, very handy. And I have a big SD card in there, so it's wonderful. So you're saying, Patrice, that it's they fixed that issue that many of us have had with the charging port? Is that-
Yes, it's much more stable, but as Bob takes over here, he found a way, because he's our genius, to recharge it, Holly, using something else, so we'll answer that question
Yes.
in a minute. Any other questions about Stream 3? Any other, yes?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment about the tape recorder that might be useful for people, whether they have a 2 or a 3. And that is that I have used it for a few years now, although I won't be because mine just broke, but I put my passwords on there, and I put my credit card numbers on there, and I put stuff on it that other people, I don't wanna put on the internet for anybody else to find. And it's unmarked, so sighted people don't know how to use it, so I feel pretty safe. And being able to put it on that, you know, on the recorder, just to add that to it.
No, that's great. It's like only blind people can steal from you. It's a whole new world.
Right. At first I have to find it.
Yeah.
I'd like,
You look on it,
Yes, John?
if you're outdoors like me, out in the woods every now and then, sometimes phones, you can't get any service. So this thing would be great for that, because you don't have to worry about your service being cut.
Yeah, if you're listening to a book, you're listening to a book. You're right. It's not gonna go away. Good, really good point, John. Anybody else on Zoom have anything else about the 3 before we switch?
Yes, I do.
Yes, Crystal.
I love my Victor reader.
Uh-oh.
I cannot get out of my house without it. I take it to doctor offices and, you know, because I forget everything because I'm so nervous. And so when I come home, I can listen into it, what my diagnosis is, or what medications I have to take.
Mhm.
And then another thing, what is so great, I do my whole checking account on my Victor Reader. I put my, every bill I get, I put it on there, just like I would write it in the check register. I put my incoming money in, my outgoing money. I have a running balance on it, and then I, double check it with my statement from the bank. And it is, I don't know what I would do without that reader. I mean, I have, I don't know how many notes. I'm using it for notes mainly than anything else. And
Okay.
it is just a wonderful way to do it. And if my check doesn't balance, I just go backwards to each individual transaction on my Victor Reader against the bank. Of course, I cannot see the statement. I mean, the individual purchases or vendors. So I call the bank and they tell me each month and, the date, the merchant and the amount, what's going out and what's coming in. And I take that to my Victor Reader, and that's how I do my finances. And of course, everything has to balance to the penny because I'm just a freak with numbers.
Well, you are an accountant. I guess you are. That's what you did for a living.
My Victor Reader, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have that. I don't know how I could do it any other way.
Well,
And it is so wonderful. I mean, it's or telephone number. Somebody give me a telephone number, and I have my Victor Reader in my purse at all times. I mean, that I cannot go without it. Just like my phone.
well,
Those two are connected
Yeah.
with each other.
they should hire you as a spokesman, Crystal. That was wonderful. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Could-
Or-
I'm
Yes,
curious
Chris.
as to how often they come out with new Victor Readers.
Oh,
Years, like two.
years in between, yeah.
Every, probably about every 5 years or so.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
One thing that would
Yeah,
be really nice, if they would add to the tape recorder, different files, like you could have all your passwords in one file and then just skip forward to, the next one for whatever. That would be sure easy.
Yeah, I know.
I
know.
Yeah.
I know that's been a suggestion that a lot of people have given to Humanware, allowing, for example, to place related files into specific folders that label. So you have like your financial folder or your recipes
Exactly.
folder or your
Right.
that sort of thing. I would, real quickly, if it's okay, I would like to give one word of caution about using the notes feature in the Victor Stream, because I have a friend who ran into something that's totally explainable, and the machine did what it was supposed to do, but he didn't realize what it was going to do until it was too late. And that is that that one of you, I can't remember if it was Bevy or Patrice, mentioned that you have like over 1,000 notes in your machine.
Holly's
And-
guilty.
Okay. And one of the things that you probably know is that when you delete a note, there is a gap that is left by that. So for example, if you delete note number 2,
Mhm.
when you go into your list, you'll have note 1, and then when you press the 6 key to move to the next note, it will be number 3 because 2 has been deleted.
Mhm.
So a few years ago, Humanware put a feature in. This was a user requested feature where people said, what I'd like to be able to do is I'd like to be able to clean up those empty spaces and consolidate my notes. So if I have, let's say, 1,000 notes in there, and let's say that I've deleted 200 of them, I don't want these gaps in the numbers. I want them all. I want it to crunch them down so that 3 becomes 2, 4 becomes 3, and so forth, so that there aren't any gaps. And there's a feature in the options menu that allows you to do this. And I can't remember I remember exactly what the feature is called, but it's something like consolidate notes.
Yeah,
or
John, it's called
something like that.
merge.
Merge. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And here is the problem with using that feature. The problem is that when you have gaps and you use the merge feature to get rid of those gaps, the numbering of your notes changes. So you might have had your credit card in note number 100, and it might now be in note 57 because it crunched it all down. And so if you're used to accessing notes by specific numbers, you might not want to use that feature because all your numbers are going to change.
That's a great warning. Thank you, John. That would not be a pretty thing. Thank you.
Just a quick question.
yes,
Would you like
sure.
me to crack open the window a little?
I'd love it.
Okay, I
Myself,
just closed
yeah.
the door for noise, so I'm gonna open this for a little bit.
Oh, okay, Sophia, yeah.
One thing that I wanted to mention on the notes, when you're in notes, when you are in that bookshelf and you're on notes. All you have to do is push the 3 key, and the first thing is that it'll say delete note. You press it again, it says consolidate notes.
Yeah.
And if you click the confirm key, when it said consolidate notes, that's when it'll go back and renumber everything. One other thing, kind of related to notes, another way you can do that, Betty, is if you have a text file. So like if you put all those passwords into Word and you had it as a text file, and then you copied that text file onto your SD card, then you could open up that text file, and that text file will read any text document that you have, you can put that into your Victor Reader and it will read you back that text file. So that would be another way of
That is
doing
awesome.
your passwords. And you can also, when you're in notes, I don't believe you can do this when you're reading from text file. I haven't tried it, but when you're in notes, you can place a bookmark anywhere within that note that you're playing back. And so then you can have your bookmarks would be numbered, and you can then go through and pick the bookmark for the particular part of the note that you'll.
You're right, it's a genius.
He is.
I'm not
Yeah.
just whistling Dixie. Girl.
I know it.
John knows a lot more. John, this is Bob. I had a question for you and maybe for Patrice. I don't know if they've addressed this in the Stream 3 or not, but one of the things that I've noticed with my Victor Stream 2 is that the more things that I have on the stream, the more podcasts that I have. Right now, I think I've got 12 podcasts or channels on there in multiple files for each one of those. But I've had 20 at one time, or if I have extra books that are on there, or if I'm on Newsline and I have lots of newspapers and I have those so that they automatically sync. With my Victor 2, when I first turn it on, it is very, very slow for the boot up. If I go in and I've used up those files and I've deleted and I've removed them, then it boots up really fast. So have you noticed any difference, John, with the 3?
I believe that the 3 is faster. It does seem to boot up a bit more quickly, and I have a lot of stuff on mine. I have seen some messages on the Victor Stream email list where people have said that when they put a very large SD card into their stream, like the Victor Stream 3 will accommodate up to a 1 terabyte SD card. And there were a couple of people who commented on the email list that when they have a really large card in there and they turn it on, that it does take some time for it to boot up. And like one person asked another, well, how much stuff do you have on your SD card? And the person responded and said, oh, I don't know, I have 11 or 1200 Bard books, I guess. And when the stream boots up, without going into a lot of technical detail, it actually has to do an internal index. In other words, it has to look to see what it's got so that it knows what to present to you as far as the content that it has in its memory, whether it be internal memory or on the SD card. And so the more material that you have, the larger number of books and podcasts and newspapers, you know, that can slow it down a little bit because it has more indexing work to do. But this person who had that 1 terabyte card said that it took their stream about 5 minutes to boot up.
I have, it's kind of interesting. I would say in general, I don't have that much on my Victor, but in general, it boots up faster than it used to.
Yeah, it definitely is faster.
Yeah, but I think it's something about how I actually stop a book. You know, if I'm not really clear about this, but sometimes it, you know, if I stop a book, turn off the Victor Reader and turn it on again, it takes a long time to boot up, but it seems random to me. It doesn't seem like it's indexing. And I don't have that much on my SD card. So I think, I'd like to say that, it's better, and I can say that, but it still sometimes takes a long time to boot up. I'm thinking a minute when I say a long time. So, that's the longest I've had to wait.
Would you guys mind if I comment?
Please.
So, sorry, I keep stepping in now, but yes, the Victor Reader 3 stream is faster and also has a faster Wi-Fi chip. So, I know this is, you know, technical terms, but it has a 5 gigahertz receiver, so it's able to download material much faster than the previous version. The previous version was a 2.4 gigahertz, but yeah, like I said, that's just what I was done. You know, it's faster. They did put hardware on the Victor Reader Stream 3.
Do you have anything else, Roberto, that you think in general? Comparing 3 to 2?
Can I say something, Patrice?
In 1 minute. I'll let you know. Okay.
I probably will come up with thoughts as you guys are speaking.
Okay,
because,
great. Listen, you don't want to take one opportunity while we're here. I've just had a moment where I should have done this at the beginning. Roberto Atalano is here with us today. For those of you who are on Zoom and don't know him, he is the Access Technology Specialist here in Santa Cruz presently, and he is brilliant and he's nice. He's got a great voice to listen to. I want him to do radio when he grows up, but anyway, he's a wonderful asset for us to have here in Santa Cruz. So in general, if you have questions or you want to learn more about the devices you have, he's your guy. His email is go ahead, you can tell him.
Yes, RATILANO. This doesn't work. No.
And he also does Android for those of you who are using an Android phone. And I will send everyone his email address, so don't panic if you didn't get Atilano. Yeah, well, I'll be sure and
we do Linux here too. We do Linux, we do Windows, we do Macs, we do quite a bit. Yes, I do quite a bit.
yay.
Wow.
Anyway, okay, Crystal, let it out, girl.
I'm still going back to notes because I have about 5,000 notes on my, because I put everything on my Victor Reader. And there is a button, you can go to a particular note. You push the button and let's say I want to go to note 2,500. And maybe that note has a credit card on it I need frequently. And I put that, in my notes, under latest notes. So I do have that number ready when I need it. And I just, push 2,500 in it and I'll go back to that note. So that's another great feature.
Yeah, you would use GoTo.
Oh.
Crystal, are you using GoTo, the square shaped button?
Yes.
On the left
Yeah.
side, okay,
Yes,
so that's the
right.
GoTo button.
And also have different SD cards for different categories.
Great.
So because when you do have 5,000 or 6,000 nodes on it, it does take a long time to reboot. It's like it was mentioned before. So other ones who have less on it, it goes so quickly. And it is a great system. It really is. For me, it works for me.
So I have a question on, say I wanna add another password to my files of passwords. Can I do that? Bob?
I don't know. if you
I'm
need-
sorry.
Go ahead, John.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure if that was directed to me. I had to unmute myself. Unfortunately, right now, the answer is no. There is no way to add to an existing note once you've saved it. You can, when you're recording a note, you can press the play key to pause it. So you can, as long as you don't press the record button a second time to finalize the note to tell it that you're really done. You can start and stop while you're recording within a note, but once you've saved a note, there's no way to modify it.
Yeah,
Okay.
good, great information. Thank you, Crystal. Never thought of using it that way. I think that helps people with notes, and thank you, John, because it's true. Once you push that button, you're done, you're
Yeah.
cooked. I'm gonna send this over to Bob for stream 2 if there are no more questions. Everybody raring to go? Because most of you have a stream 2.
Well, the stream 2, works very, very similar to the 3, so everything that John and Patrice just went through holds true for the 2. One thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that the user manual for the Victor Reader is on board. So all you have to do is push the 1 key and you hold it down and it'll let you know that you're in the user manual. And then you can just go through the user manual, line by line, or one of the features that works on the Victor Reader is when you want to jump rapidly. Let's say you wanted to jump. I think it's generally in groups of 10, although sometimes I've seen it as far as 100. If you hold down the 6 key, it will, rather than going, like 1, 2, 3, counting through things, it'll go 10, 20, 30, 40, and so you can jump much faster.
Yeah.
Through things by using by holding down the 4 or the 6 key. One other comment that I wanted to mention was that when we were talking about the recorder, you're also able to record live radio. So if you're listening to radio and you realize, oh geez, I want to remember that so I can come back to that again, you can just hit the record button, and when you're done with that recording and you ended the recording, so it saves it, it comes back just in when you're going through your Victor selector, going through whether you're on Bard or Newsline or Audible or any of those. One of those will be radio, and within radio, it has separate folders, I guess, within radio, and so it has some favorites that you can put in anytime you're listening to something. You can mark it as a favorite, and it'll store it in that favorites file. Or Humanware has some suggested radio stations. They also have suggested podcasts. So that's a good way to get started with the podcast, is just going through their suggested one. But you can also add podcasts at any time, and it really has a wide selection. I haven't really found something that I haven't been able to go out and find on my Victor Reader that I could find with the podcast player on the iPhone. So it's really a robust system that they have out there. So it's easy to just use the keypad to type in the name of a podcast, or just search through the podcast that they recommend. And like I say, they have a good selection of podcasts already there. To the question about the charging port, one of the things that I found online when my charging port went out on my first Victor reader was they were recommending that you do use a magnetic charger. So I found those on Amazon. Like I put them in one of our newsletters a long time ago. I'd have to go back and find that particular issue in that article
That was good, yeah.
that I wrote. But it's basically a button that you just snap into the charging port at the bottom of your Victor reader. And then you have a separate USB cable that has a magnet on the end of it. And you just bring the cord close to the bottom of your phone and it automatically snaps on to that button that you've plugged into the bottom of your phone. So that way you're not taking the charging cord in and out all the time. You just leave that button in place and just let the magnetic charger snap on to it. I have experienced a couple of times where if it's charging and I just happen to knock the Victor reader off of the charging cable, the magnet comes loose, it does lock up the Victor reader, and I've had to go back out and reboot it so that it knows where it is again. Now that hasn't happened all the time, just some of the time, so you just need to be careful. And if you look for the magnetic reader or magnetic charging cables, they have both charging only cables and they have charging and data cables. So if you want to be able to use the same cable to transfer files from your computer into the Victor reader, make sure you buy the data charging cable. It's only a couple of dollars more.
Well,
And
Good advice.
I can't think of anything different on the Victor 2. The one difference is the Victor 2 has removable batteries and they're replaceable batteries. Whereas the Victor 3, it's a built-in battery.
Yep.
The rechargeable battery, or excuse me, the rechargeable battery in the Victor Stream 2, I maybe get 8 hours of use out of that battery. So I'm really pleased to hear that the new Victor is pretty much double that. And as far as I know, and John, maybe you know this from talking to Humanware, they still make the Victor 2 available. So you can purchase the Victor Reader 2 if you want to. And the price, the last time I looked, was like $325 for a Victor 2. But I think right now, if I didn't have any Victor and I was looking at getting one, I would go to the 3 just for the added Wi-Fi capabilities that I didn't know about.
Yeah, it's.
And the Bluetooth.
One thing that is different, as I think about it, John, you can please speak to this. On the Victor 3, the menus are slightly different and you don't use 2 and 8 so much. You're using a lot of 4 and 6. So you're, backward, forward. And then if you choose something, you hit the confirm button and then you go backward, forward that way. So you're not doing a lot of, going up and down with the arrows, except for as, I hope I'm not confusing everyone, sorry. As Bob was saying, if you want to, let's say you're reading a book and you can do, line or part or chapter up and down. And sometimes if you're reading a book and it's not giving you the next chapter and you're frustrated, if you go up and down, you can find chapter, hit confirm, and then it'll announce each chapter on your, this is for Bard. And I hope that wasn't totally confusing, but so it is but be warned, the menu system is slightly different and you get used to it in about 2 days and you don't even notice that it's different from the old one.
And one other difference between the 3 and the 2 is the 2 does play Audible books. You can download from Audible directly into Victor 2. Audible has changed many times over the years how they deliver the files to the Victor reader. And now they're just delivering the files as MP3 files. So, I'm curious if on the Victor Reader 3, if you just move the Audible MP3 file over to the audio player, if the audio player would just see that as, a music file or an audio file, and you could play it that way. It's just a way of tricking, I guess, the 3 to play Audible files.
Exactly, that is a trick. And so she suggested, sorry, the technician suggested this Audible sync thing, which sounded specious to me, honestly. And I think I would try what Bob just suggested, is just to try to download the Audible from your computer as maybe even a text file, I'm not sure. Or as you said, a music file. But they say June they'll have it. And if you can still do Audible books on 2, rock your world, do it. I just, on my 2, I had a lot of problems with it. The files were unstable. And so I actually had to go to the phone to read it because it was bugging me so much. And then that was much more easy. There were, not to get into the weeds, there are 2 Audible apps you can download. One is just for reading and you can buy books with credits. The other is the mothership where you can, go into your account, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's very, very dense and also robust.
Yeah.
But you
And
Yes.
just to be totally clear,
Yeah.
when Patrice says that these are downloadable apps, they're for the computer, not for the stream.
Yes, downloadable to your phone is what I was thinking, because I know.
Oh, your phone. Oh, your phone. Right.
Yeah, I
right.
meant
Right.
your phone.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know about the computer, John. I always just do the phone because
Okay.
there's the laundry.
So there are two things I wanted to that just came to mind that we're kind of talking about some of the differences between the 2 and the 3.
Mhm.
And there are 2 things in the Victor Stream 3 that 2 additional features that have been added for NLS Bard, which I really like. And the first one is in the Victor Stream 3, you can now review your previous downloads. And so let's say that you read a really interesting book 3 months ago and you'd like to tell somebody about it, but you can't remember what the title is or who the author is. You can now go into your previous downloads on the stream and move back and forth through the list and find the book that you're trying to remember. And not only can you do that, but if you press the confirm button, the pound button, while you're on that book, it will allow you to download it again. So if you want to go get
it or not.
that's right. So
Yeah.
whether you want to, so if you want to go get a previous download, you can easily do it now.
Yeah, I thought you could do that on 2, John. That's interesting.
No, you have access to your wish list, but not previous downloads.
Cool, okay. Well, I use that previous downloads all the time now. I just assumed that was good.
The other thing that you can do with Bard, which is really nice, is on the Victor Stream 2, as you know, one of the things that you can do is you can go into a list of the most recently added magazines, and you can scroll through those, and when you hear one that you want, you can press the confirm button and it'll download it. You can still do that on the 3, but they've given us an additional feature, and that is that not only can you go through the list of most recently added magazines, you can also select a specific magazine like Sports Illustrated or maybe the AARP Bulletin or whatever magazine they have that you're interested in. And once you've selected that particular magazine, you can actually go through all of the issues. You can move through all of the issues that are available on the Bard site for that magazine. And when you come to the one that you want, you can press confirm and download it. So for example, let's say someone tells you that the AARP Bulletin has this really interesting article that they think you ought to read, and it was in last November's issue. You can go find that now on the Stream 3 and download it.
Thank you, that's amazing, thank you, John.
Should we give
Sure.
it time for questions?
Yeah, and anybody on the Zoom first, since you're farthest away, you get to ask. First, does anybody have any questions about the Victor 2 or 3?
This is Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, I am getting my exercise in today because I'm doing the happy dance with all this information. I had no idea how much my Victor does. I'm totally in love with Victor, as I've said before. And one of the things I wanted to add before I forget, one of the silly things I love to do is in the wintertime, especially when I'm cozy under my blankets and I want to listen to a book. With Victor, with the buttons raised, I can put my arms under the covers and change books and do all these things because feeling the tactile buttons, you know, I don't have to look at it or don't have to try to figure out where to tap on the screen and all of that stuff. And like you were saying, Patrice, when you're reading a book on Victor, you just go right back to where you started. I don't have to try to search through things. So that's one of the things I love is when I'm cozy in the wintertime, being able to listen to books because I wake up a lot during the night and I love to read during the night. So that's one of the pluses of it. I'm very excited about tuning in radio stations. I love listening to the radio, and I did that on my first Victor. I actually own 3 Victors. I have the very old one, which I got like 12 years ago, which probably would still be working except the on and off button broke on it. And the second one, I got an error 5, which meant it would no longer download Bard. And I talked to Humanware on both of those about repairs. And my question is, has anyone had any experience with Humanware sending in the Victors for repair? Because I didn't have a lot of satisfaction when I would call in and talk to them about the repairs. The first one for the on and off button, they gave me a quote of $100 if that's all that was wrong with it, but that they would do a test run while it was there and it might run more than that. And the second one, the error 5, where I could no longer download from Bard. I'm curious if anyone else has had that problem. They said they quoted me like, I think it was $300 minimum to fix that error, and it could go up more and more. And if I decided not to do the extra repairs, I'd have to pay the minimum of $300 anyway. So I'm just wondering about if anyone's had any experience with actually getting a Victor repaired. I do have a friend who said he might be able to repair the on and off button himself by going in and, you know, just putting like some plastic or something. He's good at welding and stuff like that. I figured if it broke when he did that, you know, it wouldn't be any loss. I can't turn it on and off right now anyway. That's a lot of questions, but anyone have any comments on that?
Debbie?
Yes, Donna, I had that problem too. I dropped my Victor reader in the pool. I had it sit in my pocket and bent over and it fell in the pool just for a second, and I took it out. And of course, I took the battery, I took it apart and tried to dry everything off. And of course, it didn't work no more. So I called Humanware and told them about it, what happened. And, you know, he went through all kinds of steps with me to try to start it up. After a couple of days after everything was dried out. But he said repairing that Victor reader would cost $350. He said it's not worth it. It's better to buy a new one because to repair, just to look at it was, so much money per hour. And of course, I didn't send it in, and because it was just too much money to repair. So that.
Well, one thing that Victor had, I don't know if they still have, maybe John or Patrice knows since they bought the 3, is that when you first buy your Victor reader, you can buy the extended warranty. Now, I'm not a warranty guy. I normally never, ever get an extended warranty because they're betting their product is gonna last and you're betting the product is gonna fail. Well, when I was on my second Victor Reader, I decided, I am gonna bet that their thing's gonna fail because I know it is gonna fail. And so they repaired it under warranty for me, or under the extended warranty, and they were really good about sending me the paperwork that I needed to do and put it in there and send it back to them. And they turned it around in like a week and sent it back to me. So that may be something to consider when purchasing a new Victor Reader, if they still offer the extended warranty.
That's great, and also save your box,
Yes.
which Victor comes in, because they will send you a label that you can send it to them. But if it's in the box, you just simply, cover it, put the label on it and send it away. So don't throw away the box. That's just a little, yeah.
And
And how much is the extended warranty?
Oh, I don't remember right now, but it was well worth it, cause I knew that if it had failed again, I would be spending, back then it was just the Victor Reader 2, but I was gonna be spending $400 to buy a new Victor versus I think the warranty was like $150 or something like that. So I was definitely money ahead by buying the extended warranty. Don't quote me on that price though, it was.
And how long did the warranty
Yeah,
last
how
for?
long is the warranty? The extended?
It extends their warranty by an additional 2 years.
That's good. Roberto has something to add. Roberto?
well, I was gonna ask you, Donnie, you said something about it was the Victor Reader Stream 2, you were saying that doesn't allow you to download from bars, is that what you said?
Cause she
That's
had an error
correct.
code.
It said an error 5, and when I called HumanWare,
So
the-
if you can shoot me an email and then, if you can, just shoot me an email and I'll see if I can work with you on that.
thank you, Roberto. That would be terrific. I would love that. I will.
Just for Roberto, maybe he can deal with it. One time I had that error code 5 and sent it back, and they determined that it was like, I don't wanna say the mother chip that was bad, but it was a chip that went out. That's what that error code 5 meant, was that one of the chips was bad in the phone, and they replaced it and sent it back, but just FYI.
Good to know, good information. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have something else to say about Victor Reader. What I love is the internet radio, because I like to listen to German stations, and of course, there's every language on there in the whole wide world. So it is just a fantastic thing to go through those, I don't know how many stations, and and sort out what you like and put it in favorites. And so I spend a lot of time listening to my German stations, which I put in number 1 in my favorites, and the button number 1. So it's another nice feature on the Victor Reader.
Yeah, I remember helping you with that, and the first time you heard the German station, you were just beyond the pale.
One thing to remember, the internet radio is live, and so you have to have a Wi-Fi connection in order to listen to the radios, and you have to log into the Wi-Fi. So like if I switch to the radio here, I wouldn't be able to do it without going through the process of adding the Vista Center's Wi-Fi connection and password into my Victor Reader and switching to that one in order to use the Wi-Fi.
They also made it easy on the Victor Reader Stream 3, where it has a WPS connection. So in that case, if your Wi-Fi has like a little dot on the back, it's like a little button, and if you press that with the Victor Reader WPS connection, within 30 seconds, it will connect. You don't have to put in a password.
Oh, that's great.
Where's the button?
What is that?
So most routers have like a like a little button that sticks out, and it's known as a WPS button. And so when you press that, any device that tries to connect within 30 seconds will be immediately logged in.
Oh, wow.
Where is it?
No, that's on the individual
No,
router,
the Wi-Fi.
your Wi-Fi.
But on the Victor Reader Stream 3, when you go and you're trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, there's an option there that says connect via WPS.
Oh, okay,
Yes, so
okay,
that allows you to immediately connect without
Got it.
having to put a password.
understood.
Very good.
Oh, that's
great.
fantastic.
That's reason to buy a 3
Right there, I know, I was
Yeah,
just thinking,
exactly.
well, I was thinking, I won't have time to log on here. To show things, so, gosh, that's so wonderful.
Yes.
Um,
I'll leave with a question if I may
Yes,
on that
please.
subject. I am offline on my Victor and I've not looked into how to get it back online. Is that an easy thing to, in 2 sentences, to tell me how to do, or obviously not? No.
I'm gonna let the teacher do it, yeah.
Aw.
I know,
Yeah, I just didn't know if anybody had a quick fix on that, please.
Wait, what was your question?
Oh, my Victor 2, it says it's offline, I'm off my internet, and I just have not looked into research how to put it back, I didn't know if there was a quick answer.
But and you're saying that when you're at your home, it says you're offline, or?
Correct. Yeah,
I don't know if your Wi-Fi might have changed passwords.
that's a really good point, I'll look into it because it's not, general interest of the group, but thank you.
Yeah, it is general.
Yeah,
It's general of the group.
I believe you can go back into the connection part of the menu and select the Wi-Fi options and go through there, and it should be pretty easy to restore it since
Okay.
you had it in there once already.
Yeah.
I could help you with that.
Oh, thanks.
sure, yeah, it's just going to the menu 7. And then finding the online and then going down through the menu and it'll, but Bob is really good at it,
Thank you
he
guys,
can
and
help you with that.
I want to remind everybody that there is no question that is not important. But this is, it's working out exactly what I had in my mind of what this could be, and that is that client is helping client, Crystal's giving information, Dawn is giving information, Holly is, all the questions are good. So if you have questions, please ask them because it helps everybody.
And it also helps Roberto to know, what we're looking for, or generally what our issues are with, the Victor Reader. I mean, and he would know, I'm
You guys
gonna,
are teaching me to just.
yeah. But I wanna say, do you mind if
No, you sure.
I can say anything here? So.
Be careful.
Nobody can stop you anyway.
No, what I want to say is that Betty often says this and and I kind of agree with her. The best teachers of devices for the blind use them. They are blind, they are using them. Roberto is using these devices too. So he knows what you're going through and he understands how to troubleshoot. And that's, I feel like, that's a wonderful thing. And I think, right now at Vista Center, all of our access technology specialists are either low vision or blind. So they're real experts. And I think that's a really great thing. Doesn't mean that sighted people can't teach us. I know, I was one, but it does mean that we have people who have practical knowledge, not theoretical knowledge. And that goes a long way. All right, I'm done now.
Can I chime in here one more time?
Whoops, wait, John?
Yeah, can I chime in here one more quick
You
time?
bet.
Okay, so this is what I want to address here real quickly is the thing that Holly mentioned about being offline. So there are 2 issues here that could be at play. I think that's the right term to use. The Victor Stream has 2 sets of bookshelves. It has what they call the online bookshelves and the offline bookshelves. And what it may be telling you is that you are on the offline bookshelves. The way that you switch between online and offline is you press they call it the online key. It's the round button on the top row in the middle, there are 3 buttons on the top row. There's the go to button, there's the online button, and then there's the bookmark key all the way to the right. So tap that button to make sure that you're in the online bookshelves. And then the other thing you want to make sure of is you want to make sure that airplane mode is turned off, that it didn't accidentally get turned on. And the way to do that is you hold that online button down for a couple of seconds, and it's a toggle. It'll say airplane mode on, or if you do it again, it'll say airplane mode off. And you want to make sure that airplane mode is off to connect to your Wi-Fi.
Excellent, John, thank
Wow,
you.
that's amazing.
I would, John, that's great. I forgot about that. I would think it's the round button for the,
Yeah.
you're just in the wrong side of the Victor. You're in the offline side, and that should be easy to check.
So I'll
Thank you for that, John.
Yeah.
Great.
Absolutely, we're all helping one another.
Yeah, did you want to say something, Crystal?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say about that airplane mode being off or on.
Okay,
And
so
actually, when the airplane mode is off and you have 5,000 notes on your Victor reader, it goes much faster and quicker. So because you're not connected to the internet, and it is a good thing to do when, like for me, because I have so many notes. So that's another thing I
Yes.
found out.
yes.
Pat, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just listening because I haven't used the Victor Reader,
Okay.
and I'm making up my mind whether I want to start.
It may sound more complicated than it is. It's just that Pat, it's such an amazing tool, but like most tools, you only have to use what you want to use.
Right.
You know, a lot of people today have just been saying, I use notes. And I wouldn't even think of using notes myself. I'm listening to Bard books and podcasts and the radio. So everybody has, you know, there are lots of options to use this, but it doesn't mean, you know, you have to go through the 7 levels of hell to get there. And Bob just asked me a question. So, you know, this new 3 has Bluetooth, but you can turn it off, which is really important when you're trying to, get your earplugs or your earphones to work with another device, and Victor keeps grabbing it and saying, you're mine. So if you turn off Bluetooth, then you can have
And how do you do that?
quickly, you just hit 7
Okay.
and there are menus, and one is general, and then you hit confirm, and then it'll go through and it'll say Wi-Fi. And then you confirm that, and it'll say Bluetooth on, Bluetooth off, and you just, yeah. So it's really just sits for and the confirm button that you can pretty much do all of this stuff with.
Okay.
So, and it should extend the battery life. If you turn off the Bluetooth
Yeah,
and you turn off Wi-Fi, when you're not needing them, it should extend your battery life.
yep, and it's easy to do. It's not, as I said, you don't have to, it's much more user friendly than I think it is on the 2. There you have it.
Donna, do you have questions about the radio one? I know you were very interested in that.
Say that again, Bevy, I missed that.
Do you have questions because of how to use the radio menu? I knew you were very interested in learning more about that. Do you have any questions about it at this point?
I totally do. I don't know. My first Victor that now has the on and off button broken is the only one I had ever tuned the radio stations in on. So I've totally forgotten how Patrice and I did that. Patrice was the one that helped me to do that long ago. And I do
You know
want
where
to know.
I live.
I do, yes. And I
But you
will,
can ask your question right now.
how would you go about tuning in a radio station and do you have to have the call numbers? Can you scroll? I'm not really sure how to do that.
I was just asking Roberto if he wanted to explain that. I don't know, if I was talking to him, so you didn't hear your question. Clever me. You go to the online side. Do you want to do it, Joe? A Bill Black.
From Bob.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Can I call you John? No. You- Yeah, you can call me Charlie, okay. So Donna and everybody, the internet radio is on the online side. So you make sure that you're online by, and you know, touching that central top round button in the top center. And then if you just hit one until you get to, it'll say internet radio. And then you hit the confirm button and now you're in internet radio, and then you go 4, 6, you know, you can go back and forth to find, you know, radio stations you're interested in. And then you can confirm them, and then they can become a favorite. If I
If I can
please
if
do
I
that
can
better.
interject in there.
Please do that better.
You, when you're toggling through on the radio side, it'll first say, do you want, your favorites, do you
Oh,
want
yeah.
international radio? I forget what the third one is, but there's 3 choices there. And then one of them is, do you want to add a radio station? And then you would click confirm that you want to add a radio station. And then it's just like with Bard, you have the search function. And so you can type in the call letters of the particular station, or the numbers, if you happen to know the frequency numbers, and it should go and find those, and then you can
So-
talk through those.
So there are actually 2 ways to search for radio stations. You can do exactly what Bob just mentioned. So there's a search field that allows you to type in a radio station's call letters, or you could type in, for example, let's say that you are going to be traveling to Baltimore and you said, oh my gosh, you know, they just had that big bridge catastrophe, and I'd kind of like to listen to some radio stations in Baltimore to find out local news. You could type in Baltimore in that search field. The other thing that you can do in the search field is you can type in something of specific interest. So for example, let's say that you enjoy listening to old time radio programs. You could type in old time radio and press the confirm button, and it will come up with a list of stations that are old time radio stations that are typically internet only stations, meaning they don't actually broadcast over the airwaves, but they're just like a regular radio station, and you can listen to those. The other thing you can do is when you're in that search area, if you use, I can't remember if it's the 6 key or the 8 key, you can move from search to, from the search field, you can move to categories. And if you press confirm on categories, then you have a whole list of categories that you can go through, like news, classic rock, classical. You can go through a whole bunch of different genres. And when you find one that you're interested in, you press the confirm button, the pound button, just to the right of the 0. And at that point, you can move through the list of radio stations that are available for that particular category. And when you're on one, you can press the play button. And if you listen to it for a few minutes and you think, gee, I'd really like to save this, you can press the bookmark key, the top right key, and it'll ask if you want to save it as a favorite. If you say, gee, I really don't want to save that, you can press the play key again to stop it, and you're still in your list of results. So you can move backward and forward through your list and find another one, press the play button and find out if, if it's one that you might have more interest in.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the key. I was gonna say, Donna, it was the bookmark key to add the favorite. That I remember that when we were working together. Any other?
Yeah, she had another question.
Sorry, oh, Donna, hit it.
No, actually, that answered my question. I've just had a whole new world open up to me. So I'm going to be tuning in radio stations. Thank you.
Sure.
Chris, yes? Does anybody ever think they'll make a Victor that's voice activated? instead of having to, you know.
Well, then, no, sighted people could use it.
Well, yeah, you know,
Sometimes it's hard to type things in.
yeah, it is, and I can see that happening, especially for search. But right now, you know, you're still typing it in on the keypad for sure. Again, though, you know, it's safer in terms of just using it. I don't mean safer, but it's easier to keep things where they were because you have to punch a button than on your phone. It's really easy, you know, to graze it and move somewhere, or you're on a new chapter, yay, or, you know, something can happen like that. So in some ways, it's kind of, you know, behind the times, but because of that, it's more reliable in many ways.
I have a question for Pat. One of the things that I've noticed in here, with having my phone in my hand and reaching over and touching your phone, is the 3 has the larger rubberized buttons. And I was just wondering if it took you any time to transition between the old style keys on the 2 to the new ones on the 3, or it was just seamless.
It was seamless. Especially because the 2 dots on the 5 are so obvious that I hardly ever miss punch. It's pretty seamless. What about you, John? Johnny?
Oh, you might be on mute.
I'm sorry, I had muted myself. I completely agree with what you said, Patrice. I mean, it probably took me 30 seconds to just get oriented. So the 2 dots on the 5 key are very pronounced. And then the other markings are the 2, the 8, the 4, and the 6 each have a raised line showing the direction that you're going to be moving if you press that button. So in other words, the 4 key has a line pointing to the left, indicating that key takes you backward. The 6 key has one to the right, indicating that that one moves you forward. And so, no, I found the new keypad very easy to get used to.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. That's what I liked about it is the Victor 2, all the buttons are small, they're all the same. Again, you know, all of us, I think here, just about all of us have oriented to it, not a problem, but this is actually easier and you have to think a little less, and that's always a good thing, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
Cases. You heard me breathing. For a question.
Yeah.
Case, I have a wonderful case, a leather case that was the custom case on my 2. And with it open, I can access the buttons. Do you know if there's a similar case for the 3?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, but I will say my experience. I thought, oh my gosh, it's naked, because it didn't have that silicone, you know, thing around it. And then I questioned why was that there? I'm sure there was a good reason, but I honestly, and maybe John has another answer to this. I'm gonna say something that I don't like about 3, and I really don't like it, and I think the silicone thing helped. It's so easy to hit the record button because it's sticking out really well. I have deleted 39 notes, which were not notes. There were times my finger accidentally hit that key and it started a recording that I didn't want to make. So it's so easy to make recordings because instead of the button being flat, those of you online who didn't feel it, the button is sticking out on the right hand side at the top, just right where toward the top, where your normal record button is, but it's really sticking out. And so that's not such a big deal. John, do you know anything about
Yes, there is the leather case that you're talking about was most likely made by a company called Executive Products, and they do have a new case for the Victor Stream 3. It's made out of very high quality leather. It has a belt clip on the back of it. It also has two little rings, and they provide you a carry strap that you could use with your hand, or you can even lengthen it and put it over your shoulder. It's a little expensive. I think it's about $90, but I got one, and I have to honestly say I'm very pleased with it. It has a zippered pocket on the front that you could put SD cards in, and you might even be able to fit a pair of earbuds in there. And if I were to drop the stream in this case, I don't think it would be damaged at all because the case is extremely well padded.
Okay.
You know, I have a case for the 2, but now I'm thinking I might get the 3. If I get the 3, do you think it would fit in that 2?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
it's different enough, and the connectors have been rearranged slightly so the openings wouldn't be in the right spot for like the external microphone connector, for example.
Mhm. It's also fatter, I might say, the 3. It's thicker. It's shorter, but it's thicker.
Buttons are
Yes.
in different places.
Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
that shoulder strap you mentioned, John. I used it a lot. I put the Victor over my shoulder and go about my
Mhm.
daily business in the house.
Yes.
It was very good. So thank you for that.
Sure.
Oh, you got your case.
There's one other thing that just occurred to me that is new in the Victor Stream 3 that I really kind of like, and this is one of those little features that some people might not think might not think much of it, but I really like it. And that is that when you are in the process of downloading books and podcasts and so forth, if you hold the confirm button, the pound button, if you hold it down, like the 2, it will tell you what the battery level is, and then it will tell you that it is downloading, and it will tell you how many downloads there are in the queue that are left for the stream to retrieve. But what I really like is it now tells you what it's downloading. So it will say, downloading NLS Bard, The Catcher in the Rye. 4 more downloads of are queued. That's not the exact language that it uses, but you get the idea. It will tell you the title of the book or the podcast that is currently being downloaded, and then it'll tell you how many are left. And the 2 just tells you how many there are, but it doesn't tell you what it's currently downloading. And I just find that to sometimes be sort of a reassurance that it's really getting what I want it to get.
John, do you know, is there a way if you accidentally hit the download button when you're going through Bard, and so it's put into the queue something that you don't really want? Is there any way to stop it from downloading it?
I don't think so. I don't think pressing the cancel button at that point will stop it. I think you're just going to have to let it download, then go find it in your library and delete it, unfortunately.
I think John's right, but for some reason in my head, I'm thinking delete download. I hear that, so that'd be interesting to check out.
Yeah. The other thing that they've done a really nice job with in the 3, this is possibly a little in the weeds, but many of you that have the 2 have probably experienced a situation where you tried to play an internet radio station and the machine said, please wait forever, and you couldn't interrupt it. And it would eventually time out, but it might say, please wait for 2 or 3 minutes. Well, with the 3, if you get into one of those situations where it's telling you, please wait, if you press the cancel button, it'll stop it right now. It'll get you out of that loop.
Amen. That is
That's
such a
great.
week in the lot.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah.
That's another lone reason to go for 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think we did a great job sales.
You know, I didn't think you're trying to sell the 3, but I have to say, I haven't missed the 2. And it just seems to be more stable. That's my final word. It seems to be more stable. The Wi-Fi is more stable. The Bluetooth is great, and it seems strong. It's not, windy. And like if you know, you walk across the room, it starts to flicker, but that isn't happening. So it just seems like they've done a good job of truly improving it. If they're gonna come out with a new one, yeah. And there's now TuneIn Radio. I know John got a subscription to it. Because I was talking to him about it, and that's a new thing they just added with the latest update, is that you can get TuneIn Radio. And you can listen to stations on TuneIn, but you have to have a subscription for some of them. So it's like that. Is that correct, John? Did I say that right?
You did, and if you get a paid subscription to TuneIn, I think it's something like $8 a month, or they have a yearly subscription for $75. I went ahead and just got the $75 one because I thought, this is something I probably will enjoy, and I do. I'm very glad that I got it. So when you have a paid subscription, there are a number of commercial-free stations or broadcasts that you can listen to. For example, they have a number of news stations, CNBC, CNN, Fox News, the Fox Weather Channel, Bloomberg Radio. I believe that C-SPAN is one of them. And what's really nice is that you can listen to these and they are absolutely commercial free. So I really enjoy that. And there are music stations and other stations that fall into the commercial free realm as well when you have a paid subscription. So for me personally, I have found it to be worth it. The one little thing that I should probably mention is that you are not able to record TuneIn content. The Victor Stream will not let you record content from YouTube. I mean from TuneIn, and it says it gives you a message to that effect if you press the record button. There's been some discussion about this on the Victor email list, and apparently it is some sort of a contractual agreement between Humanware and TuneIn, where TuneIn does not want their audio recorded.
Now, there's a good thing you just mentioned. I didn't know there was a Victor email list.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Me
Yes,
neither.
yes.
I want to know about that.
The Victor email list is real easy. It's victor@groups.io. And so the way that if you're interested in getting on it, if you send an email message to Victor, the plus sign, and the word subscribe at groups.io, you just send a blank message. You don't have to put anything in the subject or the body of the message. Just send a blank message to that address. You will receive a confirmation message back saying, if you really want to subscribe to this list, please just reply to this message. So you hit reply and then hit send in your email program. You don't have to type anything. You'll get added to it, and then you can start participating on this list of Victor users. And one of the things that's nice about the list is the product manager for the Victor Stream, who works up in Canada for Humanware. His name is Matthew Paquette. He himself is very active on that list. So when people send suggestions or report problems or that sort of thing, they are being heard loud and clear by Humanware because the product manager is right there on the list.
Sweet. So it was the plus sign, correct, John? It was Victor plus sign, subscribe
At groups.io.
at groups.io. Okay, I'll try to send that to all of you.
Yeah,
just in
that'd
case
be
you
great.
didn't.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
One thing that we just went by pretty quickly
Roger.
was the NFB Newsline. And I didn't use that for the longest time, but it is really a nice feature. If you just go get your membership through NFB, they'll then give you the like a password that you can then enter in when you go to the Newsline theme or feature, and then you're able to get newspapers from all around the world. It's really it is fun actually to listen to the news in Iowa or wherever, you know, you can just kind of see what's going on. So the price of an NFB membership, that's another benefit that you get from it is the Newsline. And Scott White with NFB is very helpful on an individual basis, helping you work through the Newsline.
And I think, what, is it $10 a year to be a member of NFB? Something like that, it's very reasonable.
Yeah, it's really reasonable. They have magazines and stuff too,
Oh, on the,
on the
On
online.
On the
Yeah, okay.
NFB.
Great. Great. I know. Anybody else have anything to say? Crystal, come on.
Well, I have one more question though, which I didn't quite understand. With the Victor Reader, with the internet, so if I take my Victor Reader and, you know, go out of town, it will not be on the internet then?
Roberto
Can
gave
I
us,
not put the Victor Reader on the internet? It has to be connected to my own internet at my house. Will it be close by?
Roberto's gonna answer the question.
Can you repeat that again, Crystal?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that, what?
Oh, would you be able to repeat that?
Oh, but my question was with the Victor Reader, if I go away from my house a certain distance or to a Victor Reader cannot be on internet then, right? It only connects to my own internet.
Yes, but you can probably, if you have hotspot on your phone, we might be able to still connect it.
So I didn't hear that.
If you have hotspot available on your smartphone, then you'll still be able to connect to your hotspot using your Victor Reader and your phone.
You mean I can connect my hotspot? I mean my Victor Reader with the hotspot on the phone?
Yes.
Oh wow. Thank you. I didn't know that. Oh, that is great. So wherever I go,
We
nobody
created a
there
monster.
is no internet, and I don't have no. Well, then my phone won't work either. Well, the phone doesn't work, and I don't have no hotspot, right?
Right, but what he also said, Crystal, earlier in this meeting, is if you are in a place which has Wi-Fi, you can go into your Victor, we can teach you how, or Roberto can teach you how, to go into your reader and there's something called, is it W?
So you would go to selecting Wi-Fi and you would scan the Wi-Fi, and then what happens is on a router, on a Wi-Fi router, there is a button on the back of the router and it's called WPS button. And when you press that button, it will allow any device for 30 seconds to immediately connect to it.
Oh, really?
Yes, and you don't have to type in any password.
Oh my goodness, well, thank you very much. And I should try that, that probably mess everything up.
And so make sure if you have a Wi-Fi router at home that has that button, you want to make sure that's off, because otherwise anybody could just jump in. Is that true or not?
It only allows for 30 seconds. So when you press that button,
That's good.
there's only a 30-second timer where people can connect, whether it's an iPhone, laptop, any type of device to connect to for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, it's shut off.
Oh, wow, I do have that button.
Do we need to have our device within proximity? Or
Yes.
close? How close?
Anywhere like, you could be 10 feet, 20 feet away. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, thank you very much for that information. My God, there is so much to digest here.
So is there any more questions from anybody? Because now that we're coming to the end, I want, now you, of course, your brain's been full of all the information that we all just gained. Does anybody have anything that they would like to suggest coming from tips and tricks? Like anything you'd like to learn more about? Don't be shy.
I think we can.
You need about a Victor reader?
No, about any other, like next month, I'm gonna talk about labels. And the following month, Tiffany's gonna talk about mobility. And the following month, Holly's gonna talk about cooking. So is there any subject at all that you face in your life, in or out, traveling or home, that you'd like to learn more tips and tricks about? As
I
a
have
person?
I have a couple, Bevy.
Okay,
One, and regarding the cooking, I definitely want to learn how to use an air fryer. So when Holly does that, if she's got some tips on that, I'd appreciate it. And the other one I'd like to learn a lot about, which I haven't even started on, is the Apple TV.
okay. All right. Roberto, I hope you know about the Apple TV. Thank you, that's great. Any more ideas?
We could do like a little smart home thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Do a what?
love that, a smart home thing.
Well, we have a HomePod and Alexa and Google just all showing off.
That'd be great, dueling, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
So Roberto has some different types of, what'd you say, an iPod, what'd you say?
HomePod,
HomePod,
Alexa,
Alexa,
Google Assistant.
and Google Assistant that he could show us about, would that be interesting for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alexa, stop.
She's in the room.
She wanted to jump in.
Wow,
Yeah.
she'll even sell the other product.
Right.
She's nice.
I find Google Assistant's really good.
Yeah, I use
That's
it too.
great.
I use, well, actually use Siri, but Google Assistant, I found out one thing, if you dial a number that's not in your contact. And you tell them, you know, what you wanna dial, she'll go right to it, not only dial the number, but she'll tell you what the number is.
Yeah, I use Alexa.
And plus they
and-
use, and plus it was showing the screen too, if you're able to see it,
Yeah.
but if you can't, it's no big deal, because it'll tell you what number it is.
That's great.
And if you, if you got a good memory, you take that number. And, I guess, yeah, you put it in contact.
There's also, talking, what do we have? The, Patrice, the temperatures for our heaters.
Thermostat.
Thermostat.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
I've seen those.
talking thermostats. There's so many things out there, and so if you think about it, then send me an email. And I'll put it on the list. I'm gonna start making a list for all of us and who I can wrote down to talk about what.
You know, what Terry saw there is there's a catalog on it, it's from New York, it's called Maxier.
Yeah,
And they even have talking microwave ovens in there,
yeah,
they're kind of expensive, like $400 for one.
yeah.
No, if you buy it on Amazon, it's $75.
Oh, really?
Down to 75.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's all I paid,
Wow.
and it is the talking micro. Our microwave in our house is so high that I would dump everything on top of my head. If I tried to put it in or out, so I got one for the counter, and so now we have a his and hers microwave. Exactly, but and Eric claims mine isn't as strong as his, mine's weak, and I think, oh, brother, but anyway, just.
A little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly, big deal, but there are all kinds of things, Betty, and this is so exciting,
Yes.
to be able to share information with each other. Is terrific, because you know, when you're going through those lists of things, I thought, oh, Bob knows about that.
Right.
Oh, Roberto knows about that.
Oh, that's,
You know, yeah,
Yes,
exactly. So-
because Bob has all kinds, he makes things with wood, he, Bob has so many gifts, it's incredible, so we have things we can tap him for too.
Let's start tapping, Bob.
I used to work for a bike shop for a period of time. And I-
Excellent,
And I learned how to do stuff without seeing.
that's fantastic.
What you do is like a derailleur, I can actually tell if it's working right by listening to it. Or if a chain's gonna come off, I can actually, you know.
Yeah, your hands can see, John, that's the point, and it's great.
Hands, feet,
Yeah,
ears, nose.
Exactly.
I don't remember which bicycle shop, but I could find out where one of our Vista Clients here in Santa Cruz owns a bicycle shop here in town.
Yeah, you know, you told me about that,
Yeah.
but I never, you didn't know the name of it or something.
Oh, did it go out of business?
So what a business?
Stuff for, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
Buildings for lease.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you for a job. Because I know, you know, by doing, a lot of the stuff I learned by experience, by doing it,
Yeah,
that's the best way to learn if you're visually impaired. Because sometimes you have somebody try to teach you something, and they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there any other ideas, any other questions anybody's got?
no,
The only question I have,
sayonara, oh, sorry.
the only question I have is if you have one of those Victor readers, can you hook that to an, like, if you don't wanna hear music, you don't wanna hear through an external source, can you do that?
Yeah, it has a speaker.
But now I'm talking about if you wanna hook it to your audio system or something like that.
It has you can plug into the headphone jack.
Or Bluetooth, like a JBL speaker.
Oh, like anything, I have an old school, audio system at home.
Old school, maybe not, but
Well,
Yeah,
it
but
is-
you could
it's
use a
not real
Bluetooth
cool.
speaker with it. Like
Yeah, I know.
Roberta said.
Yeah,
Yep.
like smart speaker, I know all about those.
Or just plug in to the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and run that into
Yeah.
whatever else.
I'd have to get a,
what's the?
I'd have to get a one jack for that, though.
Um,
Oh, okay, yeah, because I know they have for iPhones and computers. Right, that's it.
So if anybody doesn't have anything else, thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you
for
for
coming and
coming on Zoom.
participating and.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Debbie.
So much, Patrice, thanks for
Thank you, Patrice
your
and
I-
Debbie.
Oh, my pleasure. Auf Wiedersehen.
Hopefully, we'll get more people. Hopefully, next month we'll get more people in person. Sorry.
Right.
What did you say? You
What'd you
said
say, Crystal?
Wonderful, all that new stuff I learned today,
good.
great.
Right.
So,
That's good.
I
Yeah.
taped it on my Victor reader, so
Of
maybe
course
I
you
could
did.
search it myself.
Thank you, Patrice.
That is a question I had, I'm not sure whether it's Roberto or who might know the answer. Where will this meeting recording be available?
I am recording it here on my computer and I can email it out
Okay.
to everyone that has attended and was invited also, like Diane Landy, I think was invited as well, Perla.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can send it all to those same people.
I need to learn how to use Zoom. I haven't
Yeah,
used it.
So thank you so much. Oh, and I want to thank Patrice, I want to thank John, and I want to thank Bob for all of the information that you shared with us today. Let's give them a-
Yes, thank you, everybody.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.